Hello, hello. Welcome back. It's been quite a while, uh, and but I'm excited to get back into it, back into everything. I will, in today's video, I'll be talking a bit about uh, that I've been away, what I've been doing, what that have taught me, because I've learned a lot. Um, then I will talk about the main topics in today's video, which will be more of the kind of why are you fighting, what makes you keep going, um, style of path. So, firstly, I've obviously not been uploading. Um, no one's watching these videos at the moment. I hope someone will find them and find them valuable. But I've been away working voluntarily. It's something that I highly recommend because you don't do it for money. And a lot of people have the goal of working for money. But working voluntarily, kind of, you have that alternate, um, the alternate, like your only goal is to do your work good and make the people they work with feel happy. Um, and you grow so much in the role. I've been working in a leadership role, and I feel like my leadership have grown so much. I've learned like I like to lead by example. That's who I am as a leader. I like to not yell at people. I like to stay calm, cool, and collect. I've just been figuring out so much who I am in a leadership role, and that's it can come so easily. You can try working as a teacher. You can try working at a summer camp. You can do so much things to figure out who you are as a leader, and it was so valuable to me to kind of finally figure that one out. Um, so I highly recommend it. And going into today's topic, I want to discuss kind of fighting for a goal and your maximum self. I'm a firm believer of that you kind of have different versions of yourself, almost as in a multiverse. Um, but that would be I have a version of myself who has not been picking up the slack, only been watching their phone, been doing nothing. And that's a version like that guy is barely surviving. But I also have a version of myself that has been like since I was, I don't know, 16, just been working hard at it every day. That guy, he's like a decamillionaire now. And I find myself from who I that I the way that I use this is that I think to myself, okay, I imagine all my goals, and I imagine achieving every single one of my goals, saving the climate, being wealthy, having invented something, having started companies and supported people, helped people invest and grow as humans. And I imagine that person. Who is that person? You don't have to have all the answers of who they are because you don't know. But what you do know is if he were in my shoes, what would he what would she do? What would they do? And you know, it's maybe you don't know, okay, so they would know the solution to the problem, but what if they didn't know? How would they act? They would find the solution. They would go here, they would go there. You always know how they would act and act accordingly. And you kind of have different stages too. I mentioned like he's barely surviving before, and I mentioned the deca millionaire. But you have these kind of mindset stages for me. So you have the bottom, and that's a guy he's surviving. He's just fighting to survive. It's the people who are at work and doing the bare minimum, just like fighting to stay at the work. After at the workout, they're just like trying to get it done. And then you have kind of the next stage above that in the pyramid, and that's the people who are fighting to win, fighting for that promotion against the other people. They are fighting to win and become a better, um, stronger, faster than the other guys. Then you have the third stage. They are fighting to become the best. They always want to become better and better than everyone else. And they keep at it. They don't need to see a competition in front of them. They don't have the competition. They just try to be the best, 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 like incredible people. And then you have the last stage, and they are just always, no matter if they are the best or not, trying to become better. They're trying to find their best self, and it's here that you have your best self, the one who's achieved all your dreams. They're continuously trying to become better people, better, stronger. They're trying to become faster, better at their work, better at sales, better scientists, better consultants, everything. And it's it's incredibly serene. And these are people who they don't survive in their day. They don't do the bare minimum. They live. They do what they want, and not their what their brain tells them. Like, oh, I need this. I need to go. I have such an urge to go watch my screen. They do something that they want because they realize that I want to achieve this, and then they go get it. I want to do this, or I want to be better at this, and they become better at that. And they do things that they believe develop them, and that's who you can imagine. Okay, I don't know what to do. I want to do something, but I feel like it's wrong. You want to pick up your phone, but you know that it's not the right decision. Okay, who is who's the most top Elliot? He's achieved all my goals. Like this guy's single-handedly saved climate change. What would he do in my position right now? Okay, he would do that. Then I go do that. And it's fighting for a goal. That is something that's very, very important. And you have a goal in front of you, and you won't achieve that goal immediately. There will be distractions. You will try, you will fail, you will try, you will almost stop trying. You will not even begin to try to begin with. You will have distractions. And it's not about working harder always. It's not about working longer hours, but it's often about just removing distractions. The person who are the best versions of themselves, they've often removed all their distractions. I recently rediscovered how big of a distraction my phone was. I actually have it with me here. It's very uncommon. And I started just turning it off, putting it in a cabinet and not touching it for days because I know how big of a distraction that phone can be for me to achieve all my goals. And deep down, you know what your distractions are. Maybe you're not always ready to cut some of them away. Maybe you don't want to cut off your friends. Maybe you don't want to do X, Y, or Z. And that's okay, but you're always going to be better off to keep at it, to cut off all of your distractions and become the best version of yourself. But then you maybe down the line realize, okay, now I need this again. Then you can go pick it up. And this is also something that's very important in sales. And we'll dive deeper into sales further forward, but the person who is always going to be the best salesman or the best saleswoman or the best sales rep, it's the person who has become their best self, that have done hard things because they are extremely good at guiding people through these decisions. They have made hard decisions, but now they are a fantastic human being. Every human being is fantastic, but in a sense, they are the next level. And they in sales, it's so valuable to be headed there because you can guide people through tough decisions. Okay, so someone is afraid to spend $20,000 on a consultancy. Someone is afraid to spend $1,000 on an agency. well, then you tell them about your decisions, how you think. You have so many mindsets unlocked that you can relate to everything, and then you can share that after understanding what they've been through. It sounds very abstract right now, but if you if you know sales well, you will understand what I'm saying. I actually, speaking of goals, what goals you have. I listened to Kobe Bryant's speech podcast, not entirely sure what it is, but he mentioned having goals and having also milestones along the way, like side missions, side quests, and how valuable that was. And I just realized how locked in you can get on the far goals that are far down the future, but that will prevent you from working towards your towards just a smaller goal. And if you have and fight with an ambition towards your smaller goals, you will faster and faster achieve the big goal. It's extremely good to have smaller goals along the path that you want to achieve, as long as you don't lose sight of the big one, of your main goal, so to say. So, for example, if I have a consultancy and let's say I want to help 10 companies every year to climb cut, cut their carbon emissions by 50%, or to guide 10 companies every year towards net zero within 10 years. That's what I want to do. Okay, I will not be able to do that right now. Like I don't have a company, I don't have everything. Okay, so what's my first goal? Okay, well, let's say having everything ready to serve a client, that's one goal. Great, I achieved that. Celebrate that goal, because you so good to celebrate the small one. Okay, now your first client is a goal. You have that as a goal. You have X as a goal. You have Y as a goal, and it's incredibly useful to have these small goals. Just don't forget the main goal in sight. And I just listened to Kobe talk about this, and I realized how right it is, and I've kind of forgotten that you need to have like these small goals. Like when you watch, let's imagine you're watching a projector, and it's your on there, it's your big goal, but then you have these kind of shadows, like there's something in front of the projector. That's your small goals. You need to still see them while watching the big goals, and I think that's incredibly valuable. And I just realized that too. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I had for today's monologue. Um, it's what I've these kind of unlocking yourself, trying to be best self. What would your best self do? Is something that I've started to reutilize a lot these last couple of months, and it's something that I find extremely helpful. To it takes that oh to make the hard decisions, but once you keep making them, you always know what you should do next. But thank you guys, and I'll see you again next Sunday. Cheers.